Welcome. Today I will be paraphrasing, summarizing, and sharing for the September 5th Al-Anon readings in Courage to Change and a little time for myself. We'll begin with the Serenity Prayer and 3 mindful breaths. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Take a moment and look this over. The question is, what can I do to ensure my own safety today? And this passage is a person recalling how when they were a young child in art class, they would paint the same picture over and over of a happy family. And that was because they were living in a very violent, physically abusive alcohol situation at home. And it was their way of surviving. This person says that today, with the help of their higher power and their program, they know that they are safe now and that they can let go of their urge to control. Today's reminder: Al-Anon offers us comfort, encouragement, and support. And the quote is from In All Our Affairs. In Al-Anon, we are in a safe place. What can I do to ensure my own safety today? I feel extremely fortunate to live in a safe situation. There were 2 distinct periods of time in my life when I felt like I was not safe, and that makes it easy for me to determine by comparison that I definitely feel safe presently today. And like I said, what else is there to say? How glorious is that? And the way I ensure my safety is to be willing to make changes if they are necessary. Now, I've mentioned before, but not often, that I have developed a pattern, an unhealthy pattern of being willing to change a situation even when the situation doesn't need to be changed. And what I mean by that is that I have a tendency to overreact and feel like I might be entering into, something might lead to an unsafe situation. So early on, it's a form of panic, I think. Early on in a situation, I am willing to flee, for lack of a better word. I'm ready to do whatever I need to do to get myself out of what I think may possibly become an unhappy / unsafe situation. And so one of the many reasons why I continue to work my program is that, like, for me, that will only lead to complete and total isolation, and that is not healthy. So, like, that is not helpful. I have, like, it's great that I feel like strong and confident enough to do that, but on the other hand, like, I'm like taking it too far. So, like, it's time, like, the pendulum was here, now the pendulum is here, and eventually I hope to get to a place where I don't have that knee-jerk reaction where, like, in my mind, I just think, you know, screw this, I'll just leave. Because that is indeed a trauma response. That is not like reasoning things out. That is not easy does it. That is not live and let live. That is not um, keep it simple. Like, that is an old behavior pattern. Actually, what's funny is it's not really that old. It's like I got to a point where I felt strong and confident enough to do that. And then, like, and here I am. And now I've got to realize that, okay, just because, like, you feel strong and confident enough to do it doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. But that's easier said than done, because emotionally, like, it's very easy to feel that panicked, scared, unsafe, like that feeling, that, that feeling, that feeling in, like, inside of you, where you feel like the situation might not be okay. And unfortunately, based on some experiences I've had in the past, like, I can get there when like the thing isn't actually happening. In my mind like can see it like that, but when I calm down and I journal about it, I talk to my sponsor, I talk to other Al-Anon people, I realize that, like a whole lot of that situation was happening in my head. It wasn't even happening in reality, which is, you know, not great. The good news is that I understand that, and I'm working on it. Thank God for Al-Anon. Thank God for Al-Anon. Because, like, this is where I'm at, 12 years in. 12 years in, I'm at this point. I've made a heck of a lot of recovery. But that just goes to show, like, human beings have so many layers, so many intricate layers of who we are, how we feel, why we feel the way we feel, why we behave the way we behave. And Al-Anon is just the perfect, gentle, accepting program to help me through all this stuff. So I'm just eternally grateful. This page has a tab on it too. Okay, here we go. All right, so this passage is about the 7th step. Quote, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings, unquote. And this person said that their shortcomings were the feelings of anger, fear, and guilt. And they were initially they were working to get rid of those feelings. But then when they were working on that, they realized that they would never be able to get rid of those feelings. Those feelings just arise, but what this person has control over is what they choose to do about them when they feel those feelings. And they mention that feelings are not facts, and they mention that we can feel our feelings and then let them go. That when we give ourselves permission to feel what we feel, the feelings will pass. So the real shortcoming is self-acceptance in this case. It's not having those feelings of anger, fear, and guilt. It's the acceptance, and then once we have the self-acceptance, we can, I guess, be aware of the feelings, accept the feelings, and let them go. That would be the action. Today's reminder. When we work step 7, we show that we are willing to have our higher power remove our shortcomings. The quote is from In All Our Affairs. We don't always get what we want, but we always get what we need. Beautiful. I even saw a video last week by Nancy Rebecca who was talking about how she was talking about how many of us have consistently heard that fear is bad, like it's bad energy, it's dark energy, it's not good to have. And actually what she said is, and I don't completely understand it, but I thought it was really interesting. I just need to hear more about it because the idea is so new to me. But she was actually saying that fear is not a problem. Fear is not the bad thing, which is kind of what this is saying. It's not the anger, the fear, the guilt. It's what we do with it. So I like that idea. And obviously I've read this many, many times before, but it's just so funny because there are so many pages and there's so much to think about that every time I read this, it's like, oh, I will think about this again. I also heard of someone at my meeting last week said that they've narrowed down their favorite passages to 10. Look at this. 10. I think that's a pretty cool idea because this is kind of like in a way it's good, but I don't know. It's not hurting anybody, right? It's not hurting me. We'll close out with the serenity prayer and 3 mindful breaths. Here we go. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you so much for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Sending you love. Take care.